Imam Hussain ibn Ali, A.S., the beloved grandson of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, stands as a timeless symbol of sacrifice, truth, courage, and unwavering faith. His life was not merely a chapter in history, but a living message for all humanity, teaching that standing for justice is more important than life itself. Born in Medina in 626 CE, Hussein was raised in the pure household of the Prophet, surrounded by divine guidance, love, and righteousness. His father, Hazrat Ali ibn Abi Talib, was known for his bravery and wisdom, and his mother, Hazrat Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet, was a model of piety and purity. From his earliest days, Hussein grew up in an environment illuminated by faith, compassion, and truth. Prophet Muhammad, loved Hussein deeply. He would carry him on his shoulders, kiss his forehead, and say, "Hussein is from me, and I am from Hussein." These words showed the deep spiritual connection between the Prophet and his grandson. Hussein learned directly from the character and teachings of the Prophet, absorbing lessons of patience, mercy, courage, and justice. Even as a child, his gentle nature, intelligence, and dignity were evident to all. After the passing of Prophet Muhammad, the Muslim world went through many political changes, but Hussein remained devoted to preserving the true teachings of Islam. He lived a life of simplicity, generosity, and worship. He cared deeply for the poor and the oppressed, always speaking the truth regardless of consequences. His brother, Imam Hussain, A.S., and he stood as leaders of the youth of paradise as described by the Prophet. Together they carried the legacy of their grandfather. Years later, when Yazid ibn Muawiyah came into power, the situation of the Muslim community changed drastically. Yazid was known for injustice, oppression, and ignoring Islamic values. He demanded allegiance from Imam Hussain to legitimize his rule. But Hussein knew that giving allegiance to such a ruler would mean approving tyranny and corruption. He refused, not for personal power, but to protect Islam from distortion. His stand was a stand for truth against falsehood. Imam Hussain left Medina with his family, including women and children, heading toward Kufa after receiving letters from its people promising support. However, the political situation changed, and the people who had invited him were threatened and silenced by Yazid's governor. Hussein and his small caravan were stopped in the desert of Karbala by a large army. It was the 2nd of Muharram, and this land would soon become a symbol of sacrifice for all time. The army of Yazid surrounded Hussein and his companions, cutting off access to water from the river Euphrates. Under the burning sun of Iraq, even small children cried from thirst. Yet Hussein remained patient, calm, and trusting in Allah. He gathered his companions and told them they were free to leave, as the enemy only wanted him. But one by one, they stood up, declaring loyalty and readiness to sacrifice their lives for truth. This loyalty remains unmatched in history. The night before the battle, Hussein spent hours in prayer, reciting the Quran and speaking to Allah. His heart was filled not with fear but with peace, knowing he was fulfilling a divine mission. On the 10th of Muharram, the day of Ashura, the battle began. Hussein's companions went to the battlefield one by one, fighting bravely against thousands. They were martyred, but none turned back. Even young boys and elderly companions stood firm. One of the most heartbreaking moments was when Hussein's 6-month-old son Ali Asghar cried from thirst. Hussein carried him to the battlefield, asking only for water for the baby. Instead of mercy, an arrow struck the infant. Hussein held his lifeless child in his arms, yet he showed patience beyond imagination, placing his trust in Allah. His young nephew Qasim, his sons, his brothers, and his loyal friends were martyred one after another. Each loss was a mountain of grief, but Hussein never allowed despair to defeat his faith. Finally, he stood alone on the battlefield. Weak from hunger and thirst, wounded and heartbroken, he still carried the strength of faith. He fought bravely, defending the message of Islam. Eventually, he was surrounded and brutally martyred, but his death was not a defeat. It was a victory of truth over falsehood. The tragedy of Karbala shook the Muslim world. Though Yazid's army won physically, history remembers Hussein as the true victor. His sacrifice awakened the conscience of humanity. He taught that dignity is more important than submission to injustice. His blood became the ink that wrote the lesson of freedom for all generations. After his martyrdom, the women and children of his family were taken as prisoners, but even in chains, they spread his message. Hazrat Zainab, AS, his sister, spoke boldly in the courts of tyranny, exposing injustice and ensuring that Karbala would never be forgotten. Today, more than 1,300 years later, the name of Imam Hussain shines brighter than ever. Millions gather every year to remember his sacrifice. His story is not just for Muslims, it is for all humanity. He stood for justice, truth, human dignity, and faith. He showed that even if you stand alone, standing for truth is always worth it. Imam Hussein's life teaches us courage in hardship, patience in pain, and trust in Allah in every situation. He reminds us that real success is not in worldly power, but in moral victory. Karbala is not just a place. It is a school that teaches sacrifice, loyalty, and unwavering faith. His message echoes through time: never bow to injustice, never sell your faith, and never be silent against oppression. Hussein gave everything, his family, his children, his life, but he saved the soul of Islam. His story continues to move hearts, awaken minds, and inspire people to live with honor. If this powerful and emotional story of Imam Hussain AS touched your heart and inspired you, then please like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring Islamic stories, historical lessons, and motivational content. Your support helps us spread knowledge and keep these powerful messages alive